mulch application. And now the boys are working on, naturally, leaf drop is a big thing this time of year. So we go and clean the leaves in the village, and the next morning you go back and it's like we hadn't been there for a month. So it's just between that and the trimming now, we're catching up on that. It's really been really dry lately, trying to keep the flowers. There are a few flower boxes that look kind of tough. Jeff's already going to take care of them. And we've already mapped out areas where we have runs of really leggy old hibiscus that are going to come out and be replaced with snow queens. And we put the order in, and the stumps, the big stumps have already been ground down, and we already started to we put some elephant ears in, and we're going to take some of the wandering Jews on property to cover up what's left of the old big stumps, because they're not smooth. You really can't cut there. So we're going to do that in most of the spots to cover up stumps. And other than that, that's about what's going on right now. Jeff, what do you got?
I have 8 impatiens put in a whiskey barrel at the entrance coming into the office. The barrel is screwed down to the stump so nobody can walk away with it.
They can have the record show it was empty when it got here, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also put 2 20-inch posts per request at the corners of cluster B and V to keep people from driving over the grass. Your ending balance is $9,975.34. Your rainfall total is 0.2 inches.
Yikes.
Is that unusual for February? Yeah, it kind of is. We usually have more rain in February than what we had. But I mean, it's kind of like been a dry,
Really seems
dry year so far.
It's definitely in the dry area. Yeah. The did you find out if Mariposa or Home
I haven't had a
Depot?
chance to call them because I was mowing all day yesterday.
We're going to find out. We have to replace some of the flowers in the village boxes, and we've got to find out. Sometimes if we call Mariposa now, the impatiens already gone by and they're on to something else. So if they are, then Jeff will go to Home Depot and get them one way or the other.
You got something? Yeah. I investigated per Bob Coella's request, talking to our fertilization pest control people regarding the chemicals used. Unfortunately, they're dragging their feet somewhat. Took a while to get somebody to call me back. Once they did, they said that they would get back to me. Well, at today's meeting, before today's meeting, I called this morning because they hadn't gotten back to me, and they were in an all-day training session. So we'll have to get the report, but we're pushing them to give us a report about alternate chemicals that could be used. But we didn't get anywhere yet.
No. Let's see. Well, I covered this mulch application project. Because like John was explaining to me, we have $15,000 set aside for the mulch, and this year it was 15,000 with 300 and something because of transportation costs and so forth. So we managed to squeeze that in by shifting money around. Any committee? Anybody?
They're done mulching, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we still have bags of mulch left?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
Why would you need?
Well, we don't, but I just wondered if we
No, we
had
did.
some for the owners to buy if they wanted to.
Oh, no, we didn't do that because
Okay.
because of the cost down, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year the plan was, as we all know, to do the rears and the common areas. And we had ample for that, but unfortunately not much more. And we were able to use some of the stump grinding from behind 476. I had almost a quarter of a trailer load there, and we took it up front, and that was how we were able to mulch the common areas coming in. So we were able to use some of our own.
Because people remember when we did it that one year, the owners could buy. We tried that now, but that would mean another pellet, and then we go
Need
over,
another truck
so we had to
and
kind of cut that back.
Peter, if I might,
Yeah,
I sent out an email to the committee a day or two ago advocating that we take a look at Tropiflora, a large bromeliad house here close by in our neighborhood. And as far as I know, we've never bought anything from them. And I really think it's something that we ought to take a very serious look at. And I think there's plenty of places around the property that we could use some bromeliads. And so I sent a few pictures of some of the ones that we do have. And I just think that we're missing an opportunity to use a valuable resource. So.
yeah, addressing that, the only thing I don't want to do, Chris, is like you suggested, putting $1,000 aside just for them. I'd much rather keep it like trees, plants, flowers in general, instead of specifically saying this is for this and this, because we move stuff around constantly anyway. And all I'd be doing is taking $1,000 from here and putting it here. But we will take it in. And I asked Jeff, and he said we have quite a few on property. And the only problem with is, and I know people have said that to me, after the bromeliads flower, then there isn't too much to them. I've actually had people not know what they even are. So, but we'll definitely, have the money's there for flowers in general. So we will consider that, okay?
Well, I think we should. Again, if you take a look at some of the bromeliads that I sent pictures of, they look fine even after they flower. And usually what they do after they flower is that they send out new plants. And so if you notice, some of the ones I have that sent pictures of, they started out as one plant, and now there's a whole lot of them. And I think that the bromeliads we have on site are okay, but there's lots of nicer ones and lots of more colorful ones that I think we could be using. And I encourage people to come and look at what we've done in Lakeside, where we have some places where we planted bromeliads, and Jeff's brought some over to the triangle under the big oak tree.
Yeah.
And they're doing okay. But I just think that particularly under dracaenas, which are tall and quite honestly not all that attractive, that we could be doing some things underneath them with bromeliads that would make that whole area a lot neater looking and give us more color.
With the idea that bromeliads send out those pups a lot, because John helped me with mine. My head was in a flower pot and pot was tipping over because there was so much. So I ended up thinning them out and leaving them out there for Jeff to put someplace else.
Yeah.
But they are known for some that are known for their flowers, and there are some that are more known for their foliage. So if we do go get a few plants of different ones that have very pretty foliage, then we don't have to really worry what the flowers look like. I mean, the flowers would be just a bonus once in a while, but
Yeah.
meantime, the foliage would be, and they come in all different sizes. You can get, I have some in my yard that grow only to be about 4 inches high. And then, I've been in botanical gardens where you see some that are almost 3 or 4 feet high. So
Yeah.
you could put them in various parts of the landscape, either behind or in front, depending on the size of it. But Yeah, if you wanted to experiment by getting one or two unusual foliage types and
Yeah.
let them multiply, you know,
Yeah.
we don't have to spend $1,000, you know, we
That's
can
true.
spend just a
Did you
little
hear
bit.
that, Chris?
Yeah, I would agree to some extent. I just think that we have a lot of places around the property where we could use bromeliads, and one or two is not probably going to do it. I would say that, you know, we could do 100 bromeliads if we wanted to. If you look underneath, I was walking around Lakeside last night, and we have around some of our trees, we have just soil in a circle and nothing, no mulch or anything underneath them. And we could plant some bromeliads around some of these trees underneath them, and it would be attractive. And there are lots of choices, no doubt about that. We can have way different types and sizes. Some are better in sun than others, and some are more shade tolerant. So there's a lot of selection, and they are really pretty easy to grow. I mean, you don't have to have a whole lot of maintenance.
All right, we'll definitely look into that, Chris. Yeah,
I think it's good that beneficial though to point out the local availability. I think the last time we bought them, Jeff, we bought them online or something from somewhere, didn't we? And so now that we know that there's variety here and we can go take a look, I think that's beneficial.
Yeah, I agree. This is a family-owned business. They're nice people. They've been around for quite a while, and I've always found them to be very easy to deal with.
okay, good. All right, Chris. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
A lot of bromeliads along the easement
Mhm.
along here. That's where I walk and run. And I just wonder if some of those could be transplanted. There's big ones. There's all sizes in there. They're really nice looking.
Yeah, we put those in there instead of putting
hedge.
fencing and things like that, when we
Yeah.
got the bids on how expensive the fencing was, we put those along there and they've really come along well.
And
You're
they're
right.
Spreading
Yeah.
out all
Yeah.
ways.
And that's
So
what
beautiful.
we've been doing with other, you know, the wandering Jews, the elephant ears and all this, with moving stuff on property and filling in spots, so it saves money and it works. We can do that too, sure.
Well, the other point is that they are perennial in the fact that it's not like the boxes that need to get
Right.
planted once or
Oh,
twice
the
a
flower
year.
boxes,
You know,
right, yeah,
once
yeah.
you put them in and then put the money to them, I mean, they will only multiply, and then
Yeah.
you can spread them, you know, to another tree that's bare around the
Exactly, yeah.
edges.
That's why other than the boxes, I try to stick to perennials and save save money, yeah. Anybody else?
I have a couple of
Sure.
questions. Do you know what it is that looks like an apricot and it falls in the ground and it lays there for a day or two and then it disappears? I don't know if rodents eat it or what. And if it's poisonous or not?
Sounds like a potato vine,
Yeah.
potato, and they are poisonous.
They're, if it's a potato vine, they're invasive and you don't want to have them.
No,
I think it falls from a tree though, because they're in bare spots. They're not where there's other foliage. They fall from some tree and they lay in a bare spot.
Is it under a palm tree?
Yeah, probably.
They're a little orange.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's one of the
like,
palms.
Date.
Date palm.
Date palm, yeah,
Date
that's,
palm.
yeah,
And they look like an apricot, that orange
Yeah.
color.
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
How about those? Do those kill anything like your dog?
Date palm should be safe.
No, they're not known as poisonous because they're very prevalent throughout everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, the squirrels eat them.
Maybe
And
Yeah,
they-
no, the squirrels take them apart, and
Yeah.
I don't think they're date palm. I think they're one of the big royal palms is what they drop in my courtyard, and when they drop, it sounds like a little bomb going off. They do make some noise, and if you leave them for a while, they'll actually start to become sort of alcoholic.
And you know that how?
Squirrels are having happy hour.
Evidently, yeah.
I have another thing, if it's still me.
Mhm.
what is their current thing on dogs? Cause like there's these big honking dogs that are walking all around and people are not picking up the poop.
Yeah,
No.
Well, wherever we find that out, we go after them. Anything
Well, I
that's
haven't been-
oversized, anything that's oversized, as far as I know, have been vetted with the therapy or animals that are for health conditions.
Well, I get that part, but the picking up the poop part, because behind my condo is like a big green space and everybody seems to in different places walk their dogs there.
Again, that's common courtesy of people, and if, if we can find out who it is,
I know I've been
Yeah,
trying
we
to track
talked
that down.
Cameras out before.
we've put them out before, sure. But a lot of times it's might be from people across the street too. I've had that problem. Not saying that our residents don't do the same thing,
I know, I've seen,
but I've chatted with people from across the street, that come over and seem to be less, what's your word, courteous than most. But anyway, you're right. That's a bad problem no matter where you go. We had that problem down in Woodlawn for a while, and we put some signs out, and maybe
Yeah.
we'll put a couple signs there. And maybe that'll,
I mean, you know
Remind
the
them.
area I'm talking about.
yeah, of course, yeah. So we could take a look.
I'd
Sure.
like to speak to that. I'm Cindy. I live at 583. I have a golden retriever. She has paperwork, so she's about 50 pounds. We walk her, we have the back patio, so we take her out to the bathroom in the back patio. Always clean up immediately after she goes. Take her on a walk out on 34th. I walk her all the way down to the golf course and around there. She gets a nice long walk, goes back in the house.
Well, I'm not
And-
saying it's you.
No, no, no. I'm just saying that I'm very,
Well, I would think that people that have
concerned.
big dogs would be especially,
Right. And, if she were to ever go on her walk, I would pick it up right away. I mean.
Did I see you get almost attacked by a snake the other day on 34th
Yes.
Street?
Oh, I thought I was gonna
A
die. This big black snake came off the wall and right in front of us, I screamed and jumped into the road.
I saw both of the dog and her just leap out into the road, all like in unison. And I'm like, what? And I stopped and I
Well,
actually,
she probably was scared because I screamed.
yeah, I actually stopped and parked in the turn lane.
That was you
I took a
trying to.
cardboard box and shooed the snake down the side because he couldn't get back up the wall.
Yeah.
And he was going to end up in the street. And
Yeah.
some of you probably don't like the fact that I saved the snake, but
I couldn't believe that there was somebody with cardboard. That was you.
it was me.
What is he
Well,
trying to do?
the
Pick it
cardboard
up?
was just laying there on the street, and I picked it up and I shoot him down the
Yeah.
street, and he finally got aggravated with me,
Okay.
and he started coiling and hissing and striking and whatever. So there was a stick laying there, and he let me pick him up with a stick, and I put him on top of the wall, and he quickly disappeared back into the woods. But yeah, that was so funny to see you.
they're
Yeah,
actually
sure.
good.
All
You don't
right.
want to
Oh, yeah.
kill
Well,
them because
But
they eat
yeah,
rodents
no,
and
I'm-
everything else.
Yeah.
So you don't want to
They're
harm
rat
any snakes 'cause
snakes, which is very good.
They
Oh,
eat a
good.
lot of
And
rodents.
Well,
they're, I mean,
I'm not
you
a snake fan, but
they're more
I'm
scared.
glad you saved it.
They're more scared of you than we scared of them. I mean, one actually got in my lanai.
Oh.
So I had to
wouldn't
take-
like that either.
Pick them up by the tail and they'll coil around and, look and just off he goes, Yep.
Are those the same as the black racers or are they
Yeah,
different?
same thing.
Okay,
Say they, same, yeah.
because the guys that were building my water feature pulled a 5-foot one out of my,
See, that's a good
apparently
size.
it came
That's-
in and
yeah.
went up through the courtyard and tried to get up the drain spout.
Oh,
And he grabbed it and shoot it out and let it
Yeah.
sashay
that's
away.
yeah.
Speaking of, one of the things on my list, rats. Is the landscape committee, who's responsible for setting the bait stuff outside?
Usually the office gets called and we'll set the bait boxes here we do it
I'm
ourselves.
seeing a lot of
Yeah.
rats in my, droppings in my
Okay.
courtyard.
All right, well, we'll make a note and,
Okay. I'll talk to you.
Yeah,
or,
that's-
Jeff, do we have any here?
Oh, yeah.
We'll just give it to you and
Okay.
you just put them out, okay?
We've been seeing them over there for a while.
All right.
At the droppings anyway. I think it's rats, it's too big for mice.
In the
Anyway, we'll give you the
In
boxes
the
and they're
courtyard out
bait
front.
boxes,
Oh, out front.
Gus. They're bait
Yeah.
boxes, so
The
you
Yeah.
won't,
black boxes.
it's not like they're gonna live in there or anything like that.
I have another question.
Mhm.
What are we, the area that was planted with the elephant ears, what are we doing about the gas line and the conduit?
Okay, number one, it's not a gas line. It's a communication line.
The big orange one?
Yeah.
The big orange
Oh.
one, yeah.
Yeah. So we thought it was a gas line, but it wasn't.
There's a T in it with another line coming off of it.
Still not a gas line.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
communication line
communications.
because they're coded.
Yeah, Florida has different codes for what goes in different piping. Purple is reclaimed water, blue is water, white is irrigation, gray is electrical, yellow is gas, orange is communication. So they're all designated as
Okay,
different colors for
interesting.
what goes in the pipe.
Okay, so like, go back to my, what are we gonna do about?
I've been trying to like get it down and move it. I'm actually have to try to dig it back to find out where it disconnected from and see if I can't reconnect it.
It's been on our list, especially the irrigation. Did he bury the irrigation yet?
Yeah, no.
I've been asking Ed to do that for a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Okay.
So we're gonna bury it.
that would probably have to cut because it's actually going in where the tree was and just reroute it to get it in the ground.
Well, we should get it out of there.
And then, the posts you planted, the last time we were here, we talked about posts actually being taller than that. I thought that's what we agreed on. We're still kind of concerned, the ones in, of course, our cluster. And we're concerned somebody's just gonna hit the post because it,
So far, it's been in for a month and nobody's hit yours or nobody's gone into the, and usually the one in cluster B they always run over the rock. And he hasn't hit that one either.
And the sprinkler head.
Yeah,
They
now
have-
that they know it's there, they're gonna avoid it.
Does it have a reflector on it?
Oh, yeah, it's
Yeah.
got reflectors on it.
the two times the rock got hit, though, it wasn't people that live here, it was a worker
Yeah,
in a pickup truck, and then the second time it was a woman who was here for the yard sale, and she was from outside the community. So it's we're all pretty aware that it's there, but I'm just concerned that you still can't see it. If you park next to it, you don't realize you've parked next to it and you leave. That's what both of these people did. They parked parallel to the grass area, and then when they took off, they just cut the corner.
I'll take responsibility for not putting the higher ones there because as I drove around the property, we have a couple others in Spring Lakes and Wildewood also have several and they were that height. So let's just try that. If
Okay,
it's a problem, we'll raise it up. But I brought that up with Steve when we take our trips and he didn't know if he wanted something too high that would look,
I mean, that's
Unsightly.
the other side of it.
you know,
yeah.
so.
You got 'em?
Yeah, I went out the courtyard. Here's what they're dropping out of the palm trees.
How do they take?
I have not tried that.
Yeah, fermented one?
Well, then I found out that acai, that is a very popular fruit nowadays. It's a palm tree fruit. Anyway,
That's what you have to,
yeah, I Googled it.
that's what you have to be careful of too with rats. Any fallen fruits up like that, if you can pick it up.
And we can say mostly that almost all the banana trees are gone. They're dying off one by one and we're not replacing them. We have had several put in the Sherwood area and they quite a rat drawer.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, Jeff, I couldn't hear. How deep's
they're
the?
18 inches.
Okay, so if somebody hits it, it's really just gonna push it
Yeah,
over
it's
anyway.
gonna push you out.
It's not gonna damage a vehicle, so.
Yeah, it might damage the vehicle a little bit.
I think you ought to put spikes on it, make them stay away.
Well, that lady that ran over
That's
the,
what
that lady ran over the
guy.
stone, got about $3,000 of damage to her car.
They're not expecting us to pay for that, are they?
We haven't heard from her.
It did a lot of damage. It got wedged up between the tire and the wheel well, and it had a plastic strip on the bottom, like a step thing. It tore it up.
How do they get around that? I mean, what, instead of going in and going out, they're cutting through?
Well, we've got to cut across in front of our mailboxes,
I know,
and it's
yeah.
a wide, I mean, you could pass 3 vehicles. It's
Yeah.
so big. She parked parallel to the front island, which the rock was right there at the corner. And when she left, she
Oh,
couldn't
okay.
see it because she was parked so close to it.
Mm.
And when she left, she just cut the corner. The one guy pushed the rock. He had a pickup truck and he pushed it out into the aisle. And I think he just put it back. I don't think it hurt his truck.
I
But
don't know how you'd stop that.
she had a small SUV or
Yeah.
minivan or something, and it got up under it, and then finally got up under it. Was all the way to the back wheel where it got lodged. So
Gus, I have a question for you, if I may, because
Sure.
there was some confusion. The tree that we're gonna replace.
match the other one.
Yeah, all right, match the other one,
Yeah,
because somebody
because-
got reported of a fishtail and.
You told me fishtail pound, and that's not what it is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that? I
Yeah.
meant foxtail.
No, no,
No.
no, neither one of those.
What is that other
It's a
one?
regular palm. It's just a palm.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like
okay.
Canary Island
Yeah.
Day.
Oh, I
Canary
thought it was-
Island.
Okay, well, whatever the other
All
one
right.
is. we wanna
Whatever
just-
you,
All right,
same thing?
that's what I thought you said.
Yeah, they want to match it.
All
Well,
right.
the Canary Island one, that's kind of thorny and stiff. Is it the thorny and stiff one, or is it the loose?
No,
It's 100 feet tall. We don't know.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those.
It's-
like
it's-
a telephone.
it's
You're
like a
not gonna
telephone
plant
pole.
100-foot one, are you?
No, it's like a
Awesome
telephone
budget.
Not in this world.
And they all understand we're not going to get one back that tall. So,
No,
No,
no.
it's gonna take time. Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
I think that one's been there 40 some years.
Yeah, Mutt and Jeff.
yep, yep.
Made good for Christmas decorations.
Any other committee
I-
comments?
I have another, is who's responsible for the tennis courts and the stuff out there? Is that grounds and?
Yeah. Such as, what regarding what?
Just curious, some of the comments I heard actually yesterday about the surface of the courts are getting bad.
Well, that's tennis court committee.
Tennis-
There is a tennis court
Oh,
committee.
yeah.
Yeah,
Did not know that.
Marv
Yes.
and
Yeah,
Okay,
and Steve's involved with it, and Marv Howard's involved with it. And we know we have some surface issues because there's some erosion from lakes, and it's more of a extended problem than you might think. That lake that's just to the south of it, of the tennis complex, has a tendency to back up in big storms. And we're researching some of the drainage to see what's going on. Actually, all these lakes that you see around are all connected. And we've found in the past that the old corrugated, corrugated,
Yeah,
corrugated
right,
metal,
right.
and we've seen them collapse in some places.
Mhm.
And since it takes so long for this particular lake to drop, we're doing some research to see if there's some collapsed piping in there, because it's coming up and it's undermined some of the surface of the tennis court. Conversely, we've had two tennis court people out, and they've said that the surface may look somewhat bad, but right now they wouldn't consider doing a bunch of patches because it's almost aesthetics. But we are worried about the underpinning for the big future.
there is one spot on the pickleball
Yeah,
course.
it's dead.
It's got a dead spot in it where
Yeah,
it's loose.
We definitely know that. We've got
Okay,
I actually got a proposal to come in and do some of the repairs there. It's about $5,000. And the board has looked at it in the past and haven't decided to do it yet.
okay. The benches that are out there, is that also the committee?
Jeff, you just repaired them, didn't you?
Mhm.
Jeff
The big heavy benches?
Mhm.
Wow, okay.
he repainted them.
No, I rebuilt them
he rebuilt them.
Ooh, yay.
because they were rotted.
Real?
Oh, yeah, they were gone.
You talking about the ones outside or
Mhm.
inside the court?
Ones outside.
No, I'm talking about the ones inside the court.
The
There's-
ones that I haven't seen anything, I repaired them a couple of months ago. There was a one that had a loose screw and I had to replace the screw on
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah. If there's more out there, just let Maggie know and I'll go take.
I know, actually, I thought they were in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
And my point was, or my question was, is it possible to get a couple more? We're starting to get quite a few people playing pickleball in,
We need to rest in between.
in between, it's old people, So.
Well, I know that there's no question about the fact that I get full reports that pickleball is mushrooming, no pun intended, and there's no reason why we can't.
Just a couple more would help.
A couple of the benches.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll bring it up to that committee because it's
Okay.
their
If
budget.
you would, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Any other committee comments? Owners?
Just a quick question first. The water coming out of the spigot outside of your unit, is that reclaimed water or is that city water?
It's all city, it's all county water, city water.
Okay, so it's not reclaimed.
No, the only thing that's
Potable,
required is
yeah.
irrigation.
Okay. I don't like to waste water, so I want to know what I'm using there. so.
Yeah.
Second thing, about 6-7 years ago, my unit flooded. I was still up north. And so I called my insurance company. They sent somebody in there to take all my flooring out, put big fans in there, turn my air conditioner way down, to prevent mold and mildew from happening in there. So then I had to replace all my flooring in the living room and the master bedroom and all the molding. The area I live, I have a courtyard, and it's a walled courtyard. The units behind mine are higher, ours are lower. They have a little hole on the bottom where the water should be coming out. Well, all of them on mine are covered with dirt. And you dig them out, it wouldn't do any good. It's just the fact, the way they were built, they're about this much higher. So water shoots from the units behind ours into the swale area. The swale area, unfortunately, is only about 6 feet wide. It's not very wide at all. It's one of the narrowest out that I think in the whole system. So I always get nervous before heavy rains, and Jack's my guy that takes care of my unit when I'm gone, and I trust him wholeheartedly. And so I called him before the last hurricane hit. And he told me John came up with a plan to prevent flooding throughout the whole thing, and it worked because it didn't get any flooding. And what has to happen, at least in mine, is that there's I left something out. After my unit flooded, I talked to John, and he added a pump right outside of my gate to suck the water out, because water won't go out anywhere else. I also had my patio redone. I hired one of the guys from used to work here, and he slanted it all out so all the water would go out the gate and into that pump. My concern is that there's 3 things that have to happen in order for my unit not to flood again. And this is my home. I love this place, and I don't want my home to flood again. But the drain outside of my unit has to work. If it doesn't work when we have heavy rain, my unit's going to flood again. There's some piping that goes through there, and there's a main pump that shoves all the water down toward the road. That has to work also, or my unit's going to flood in a heavy rain. And the third thing has to happen is there's one of the drains that a lot of the water from the units behind mine flows into. I believe the pipe is cracked because there's sand and roots in there. So I will go back there and dig out sand and roots and everything. What I'm asking is that area, those 3 things be checked on a regular basis, particularly prior to heavy rains, and make sure all those 3 things work. And or have a monthly or whatever, or during the rainy season more often, have somebody check those 3 things to make sure that they're working.
Where are you located?
All right, go ahead. He's in this Sherwood.
Well, Sherwood.
But I can address some of the things, but I want to let you finish. Dave.
Yeah, no, yeah. I know you're.
No, because we recently, I mean, you sent me some emails and you talked about this, but go ahead and finish, and then I'll tell you what we've been doing the last couple of days.
That's pretty much it. I'm just asking that.
Well, first of all,
I think this is the committee for that. I'm assuming.
We're as concerned for your safety and your units as anybody else is. I know, we ran into some real weird things the last couple of days. We still don't know how or why, but Jim went out there and checked the piping. All right, there was some clogging in that, and let me start back. We know there's a heavy system coming in. There's about 6 areas that we're concerned about that flood, and Jim goes to each one, and yours is one of them. Okay, so we do that in if we understand something's coming. Number 1. Number 2, investigating your particular system, he did find some cloggage at the end where the outfall was, that he cleaned out yesterday. Your pump was not working, okay? Why, we don't know. He took it out, he brought it here, and Jeff can back us up.
Yeah. It works here.
We plugged it in, it works here. So wait, let me finish. All right. So we physically took the pump that you're worried about here. It wasn't working there. So Jim went back and checked the power source, and the power source is fine. The pump worked here. So we took it apart, totally cleaned it, replaced.
He tightened up a wire on the inside, then he siliconed everything.
The silicone, put the thing back together again, plugged it in here, worked. Took it back to your place, don't work. So we're
The one
replacing that
behind my
pump.
gate or the
Yeah.
big one? Okay.
No, it's the one behind your gate. So we're gonna replace that today. I mean, why it's not won't work up there, we don't know. But you should be 100%, the whole system should be clear right now.
But the pump, the main pump was not working,
Well, it is now.
so it was fixed,
Everything, yes,
Yeah.
everything is working.
because it wasn't working.
Yes.
He even changed the outlet because he thought the outlet was bad.
Yeah.
And
I
he
mean,
tested
everything's
it,
new
and
back
the
there.
Power's coming in.
2 years.
We got power all down the line,
He
everything
never
works.
has a flood
But it
anymore,
won't
but
work in,
no.
that pump won't work there. It works here, it just won't work down there.
Very strange.
I can't figure it out.
I know women like that. Um,
You got three of them sitting beside you, you might get.
Where
one.
in Sherwood is it?
That's
Where in
dangerous.
Sherwood is it?
He's in the first section, D.
So how can I be assured that this is gonna be done on a regular basis?
Take,
Like
the only
you-
thing.
like You had it done
Yeah.
before the storm.
All I can say is the word that we're giving you is the protocol here, and we do it on a regular basis. I mean, we don't want you to have a flood any more than you want to have a flood. And like I say, we have these 6 areas. There's one in Lakeside, there's one behind Woodlawn, there's yours, there's one in Pinehurst that we check. Well, probably less than monthly.
Yeah.
Even if it was without a storm. It's just part of Jim's duties.
Okay, so I put in 3 work orders. The first 2, nothing was done. The main pump wasn't working.
But
I ran water in there
but
to
it's-
make sure,
But it's working.
it now is.
Yeah.
But 3 months ago, I put in a work order and it didn't work for 3 months.
You call me when you have an issue. If we didn't fix it for 3 months, pox on us, but let us know. We get things done around here as quickly as we can. 3 months is not acceptable by my standards, Jeff's standards, Pete's standards, anybody's. Please let us know if we don't
I
show
know
up.
it's not for you guys.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, I'm dead serious. We want to fix the issue. And if you had something in for 3 months and didn't get it done, then we're at mistake. But I wasn't aware of it.
Is this a landscape problem or is this beyond?
Well, some people consider it a building problem. Some people consider it a landscaping problem. It falls in between. It's a topography problem, if nothing else. You know, and we do have areas where some units are slightly lower. We have units where some units are slightly higher. We have some units where people have blocked up their outflows with various things. We have, I mean, you can go and, I don't know, I think there's 104 courtyard walls or something like that. Everyone seems to have a little different issue.
With that in mind, during a hurricane, we don't have power, the pumps aren't gonna work.
That's true.
Yeah,
Is there any
absolutely.
way that we can deepen that swell or put a pipe underneath there to collect extra water or something that doesn't require electricity? Because during the heaviest parts of the rain, there's no power to those pumps.
Well, I suppose you can never say nothing won't work.
Okay,
I'm sure that they would need to bring in a drainage engineer. Believe it or not, Jim, our employee, worked in that capacity, not as a full engineer, but as a drainage specialist for a drainage company. And he's the one that kind of set up the system to try to work as well as possible. Now, it will work somewhat without the electricity, but the electricity is really what it needs to be because of the way it sits and the way it has to be evacuated. I think if you put in some sort of dramatic drain system, I'm sure it would work. But
Another thing that would help is that it was done a little bit yesterday, the day before yesterday, was where the water goes out. There's been so much sand pushed through there that it puts a berm around it. So if that could be chiseled way down, some of the water at least could flow out toward the street.
let me see if Jim's
That's what
here.
I'm talking about.
Let me see if Jim's here. Call Jim's cell. I'd like to have him explain exactly what he did so he can feel better about it, because he's the one that did the work. Could be up on a roof. I thought I saw him out there, Jeff, but I guess not.
Oh, yeah, he's out there.
Is he?
He's painting.
All right, once you get it, once you-
Sorry I missed your call. Please leave your name and number, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Have a great day.
put the paintbrush down, dude.
And answer your phone.
Let's see what happens. Because not to make light of the situation, because it's important. I want him to explain exactly.
And I mean, that was very unusual for us, for you to wait 3 months. I mean, that's,
Well, that's not called, but
no, but the thing is, all our guys, whether it's landscape, buildings, roofs, whatever, all our guys intermingle. Like, if Jim's supposed to do this, just, nothing is just specific. Jeff could go out and take care of it, Jim could, any of them, because that's the way we work, because we have such a small crew. If somebody's out, everybody can do anybody else's job. So things 99% of the time are taken care of right away.
Which is why I didn't push anything, because we weren't getting a lot of rain. I knew you were short at least 2 people. I'm thinking, just leave them alone. Let them,
No.
they got a lot going on.
I don't mean to put the onus on you for what we didn't do.
No.
But if really, just let us know. If, you know, some things do get through the cracks, no pun intended, you know, I mean.
It happens, yep.
Was he out there?
Yeah, he's got to put his paintbrush in water, so don't.
Oh,
But what
okay.
we have is a system
Anything else
too
while we're waiting?
That's
Where
over
is,
40
where
years
is the
old. too.
flooding in Pinehurst?
Flooding in Pinehurst is all along the boulevard. You probably see the water come out almost across from your unit. So we're taking the water from the very back of C and bringing it down. We've got a big pump behind A, and it just puts the water out and then puts it down into the valley on the north side as you're coming in on the right. So it's pretty well alleviated. Then along that strip across from you, there we've got the same type of system with the pumps to take it away too.
Are those like some pumps?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
But we use trash pumps because we found out that some pump with everything that flows in there. So we use what they call a trash pump, where they'll churn up leaves and things like that.
Some pump will clog up with the-
Yeah,
Oh,
we found that
Yeah.
pretty quickly.
Which that one does all the time.
Yeah.
Does all the time. But what you also have is a system here that's 40 years old too, so, you know.
Yeah.
You're working with technology as drainage.
Hey, Jim.
has changed quite a bit
Okay.
in 40 years.
That's what, I know what's happening. I'm sure when they were first built, this was not an issue.
Yeah, of course it was.
Over
but-
time,
Well, there were swales. When it was built, there was engineered swales here that sometime we find that they're filled up when you start looking at topography and things like that, and you can look back and say, that had to have been a swale at one time.
and roots from trees.
Yeah,
and-
oh, yeah,
Right.
yeah. Jim, thanks for coming in.
Sure.
Mr. Flood's had some issues, as we both know, and you worked extensively on it yesterday. And you had a trick or two coming up your way when it worked and it wouldn't work. But is everything working now? The big pump, the little pump?
The pump behind his gate is working fine.
Okay,
The 6-inch line that goes from, that runs down pretty much that whole area as a drainage, which was the original idea when they put it in. It really doesn't do anything anymore. Since the two pumps are in there now, there's a 2-inch line that's inside the 6-inch line. That's how it was designed. I don't know why, but that's what they did. That 2-inch line with the second pump now really eliminates the use of the 6-inch line. And it's 6 inches. At the end, they used to have a French drain, which is the dumbest thing you can do down here. I put in a bubbler box. So, dug it up. A French drain is where the pipe went to the end and it stopped and they put rock.
Yeah.
Underground. It was totally plugged up. Never worked. So I took all that stuff out this a couple of years ago, put in a bubbler box. The bubbler box gets cleaned out a couple times a year. It fills up with some dirt, but it never completely fills up a 6-inch line. Okay. It may get about 3 inches in there, but still the water still flows out. And the water is flowing from the 2-inch line. The one behind Mr. Flood's, the way these are put in, we've got 12 or 15 of these freaking pumps all over this property. And that's all I do is maintain. That's part of what I do is maintain them. And to put them in, we do not glue the fittings. The reason we don't glue them is because if I got to take the pump out, it means I got to cut the pipe, which means I got to put in a whole new piece of, pipe keeps getting shorter and shorter. So I just screw them together. And sometimes those screws, they leak a little. I have tape that I put around them. It's roofing tape. Okay, for any of your term. It's got tar on the bottom of it. It's silver on the top. That goes around if it's leaking, which is what I've done to Mr. Flood's, the pump, one behind his gate. And it dribbles very little into, but it goes right in the box. So the water is going out. The main pump, the one at the other end, I have an electric issue. We haven't figured it out yet.
Okay, that's the pump.
That's what we were explaining.
Yeah, we found that out yesterday. So we're going to try and figure that out. I'm in the middle of doing stairs and railings and everything else right now, but we're going to get over there and figure out what the power issue is there. Because I don't understand it.
Well, if the pump didn't work when you brought it here, I mean, you worked it here, it didn't work there.
Down there, what I did is the pump wasn't working. I tested the line. That line actually goes down to the pump behind Mr. Flood's place. His pump's working, so there's power. I put it in the receptacle. I got no power. I replaced the receptacle. Got power. Plugged in the pump down here, and it ran. Plugged in the pump down there, it doesn't run. I don't know why. I've got power. It might be a surge issue. I don't know. I got to take a big grinder down there and plug that in. And if that doesn't start up, then we've got an issue between that plug and the breaker. So there's a few things going on here. But other than that, I mean, once that's done, everything will be working fine.
In anticipating of storms, when we understand they're coming,
Yeah.
is this one of the systems you check before when you say you're going to go out and check the pumps?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we got to resolve the big pump issue now.
And it's really the same size pump as what you have.
Well,
It's still the same, but
yeah.
it's just, that pump takes care of not just that area there, the passageway, whatever you want to call it, the alley. It also takes care of a lot of the water that's in the big field by pool 2 on this side.
And that's a lot.
That's a lot of water.
That's a lot of water.
And that stuff comes out and it does flow. So.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Jim? Dave?
Sure.
No.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
Good.
Thanks, Sam.
All right.
Yep. Have a great day.
Answer the phone, dude.
I don't answer the phone.
Yeah.
All right. Any other owners' comments?
I live at 373 Springdale, and the back of our unit is on Wildewood Springs.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of plantings back there, but some of them are dying, taller items. Jeff, I don't know if you ever went back there, and our unit's a little higher than ground level. So we have some breaks being created in the screening so that we could see out to the street and people could see into our unit. So I was kind of hoping that something might be figured out to deal with that. And you undoubtedly know what's killing a lot of stuff back there, according to my husband, is this stuff. Show and tell. So as soon as you pull out some of this that's choking everything, then you have bigger holes that are being created.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that at some point something can be done back there. I know you've done some nice plantings in different places. The wandering Jew there is like so grown over. I don't know how you're gonna put anything in there and get it to grow, but, because it's so tall. But I'm hoping that something can be done to close up some of that
I think
area.
you got a good point, because that area, remember when was, who lived there? They live in Spring Lakes now.
Bob
Bob
and Sue
yeah.
Lemastny.
All right,
Yeah.
they had issues back there,
Okay.
and we were able to satisfy those. That's a little bit further to the north of you, this,
Mhm.
where you are, we certainly could take a look at
Yeah,
that,
there's
standing
two
outside.
spots, one to the left and one to the right.
We've been able to remedy those, so we'll go take a look.
We'll
Okay.
go and do that again because we were over there a lot.
Mhm,
You know, at one point I was gonna get a sleeping bag and stay there,
mhm.
but finally got, and now it's been
Yeah.
time passed, so we'll definitely,
Yeah, some
we'll do
are
it again.
very small diameter, they appear to be trees, had died, probably from being overgrown between the wandering Jew and this stuff.
Okay,
And so there's gaps, and you might not be able to see them standing on the ground outside,
Yeah.
but when you're in our condo, there they are.
But we can
Okay.
come on the backside too, because Pete and I take a ride at least once a week,
Yeah.
Okay,
and so we'll look there.
Yeah.
and Joan's my neighbor.
Yeah, I'm next door and
Yeah.
I bought like a $5 plant about 15 years ago and I don't have a problem because it's growing like mad and it's filling in the holes. But I do have a problem with the invasive.
Stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna start taking over. And I've tried last year or 2 years ago, I tried pulling out a lot, but it's,
all right, yeah.
Still
Joan
We'll
and
look
I-
at it,
getting
yeah, we'll look at it together. Jeff.
Definitely, yeah.
What
But-
happened,
but I'm
what
not
kind of
gonna-
plant did you buy that grows so well?
with red bushy kind of things. I don't remember what the name of it was. It was
We'll look at the whole area.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
But she was talking about the back. I want to talk about the front. 375 is next door and they haven't really lived there for a long time, so they haven't complained, but
You're talking about
you
Dr.
guys do a beautiful job with the whole area, but I think we're getting lost in the shuffle. The hibiscus that you talk about, I hope it includes 375 because some were planted several years ago and they didn't make it. But you're mentioning that you're not going to put hibiscus in, you're going to put something else.
Snow queens.
Hibiscus.
But what's it
They are
gonna work-
hibiscus.
They have a
how's it
white-
gonna work
they have
with
a-
the rest of
They
the
work,
hibiscus.
they grow very well. They have a same type of flower, but they have a green with the leaf is green with the white.
Variegated.
So they'll go along
Yeah.
with the hibiscus that
Yeah.
that's
Oh, yeah,
already
we,
there.
we,
Oh, yeah, and the good part about them is they grow from the ground and stay like that. Instead of like the leggy hibiscus when they get aged.
Yeah, and have to be cut down when
Yeah.
they're flowering.
Yeah.
if you're ever
Yeah.
walking or wherever you're going, but we really did the woodlawn section last year, and it's all just grown in beautifully.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's what we're trying
On
to
the
think.
on the other side of the hibiscus is on one side and that's pretty sparse. Things are really
We'll look at
dying in there. and
Okay,
That needs to be looked at.
we'll take a look over there, yeah. And it's probably, it might be already be on a list, but we'll double check. Okay,
And just a comment, does that type of hibiscus grow well in the shade? There's a lot of shade in front of 375, just so that you know.
mhm,
A ton
Yeah,
of
there's
shade because of the
trees are there,
tree
yeah.
there.
yeah,
And so that, that might be a concern as to. where you
Okay.
plant
We
it.
seem to think it really likes our area, because no matter where we're planting
Yeah.
it, it really flourishes.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
so fast, it's tolerant everywhere, so.
I bet we
Very
brought 100
Yeah.
plants
Yeah.
in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
It's really flourishing well.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Any other owner comments? Yes,
I'm Cindy again, 583 Lakeside. So I understand the mulch went in the back.
in the back.
Yep. So is next year the front?
Every 2 years, we do the back.
Okay. But
So
how
the
about
next 2
front?
years will be the front.
Okay, because in front
Here's a
of,
picture of Snow Queen.
Yeah, those are nice.
Ooh, very nice.
in front of ours, it's down to the dirt.
Cheating.
They blew
Well,
the
that's why I
leaves,
bring
which is great. I appreciate that. But it's now
Well, the
I-
botanical name of her plant is Nephrolithus, but I
I don't
can't
know.
spell it. And it's
It doesn't look great.
not
but
coming up.
if you're
I'm
doing that
trying to.
next year,
Well, we will, but you're welcome if you wish to put a little mulch down, we'll never stop you.
Okay.
Oh, that's fine, yeah.
And then,
Sure.
I had a comment
No,
about
I
this
can
biscuits.
hear
I love the pretty colors. So does this new plant,
So
is it only in white or does it?
No,
The flowers are red.
no, the flowers are,
Yeah, flowers
you
are
just
red.
have, the flowers are red, the plant leaf is actually white with,
Oh, I see.
plant leaves are green with white edges.
Okay. I think that's all I have.
And your plant is called a Nephrolithus. It's in the philodendron family. It started out as your cute little house plant that came with the little palm tree and the little
One you had in the
philodendron
bag.
and the whatever. And then as it gets bigger, it turns into that monstrosity. So like if you live in Iowa and have it as a house plant, it never
Oh,
looks
that's
like
not
that.
for me.
You can see them, you can see them
We're
around
just-
here in the wild area. They
Okay.
go right up trees.
Well, I don't know how you get rid of it, but it's inundated behind us.
We'll take a look though, John.
Okay.
and we'll go.
My husband pulled a whole lot out behind our unit, unfortunately. for
See,
some
that's what it
reason.
was, yeah.
There's a
But then
danger
there's more
in
to the right side. so-
planting your little house plants outside in Florida is because they turn into monsters.
In no time whatsoever, yeah.
Mhm.
And they're all probably from Asia, they're not even native.
And those
Yeah.
Norfolk Island pines, they're also little house plant that someone stuck
They're
outside.
cute little plants.
Question.
Yeah.
On the Snow Queens, is it the long-term plan to replace all the hibiscus, the existing hibiscus with those? Because my concern would be, with the other hibiscus, we have such a variety of colors of blooms. I hate to see all that go.
I love that.
I seriously doubt that because John and I have been going around for 2-3 weeks now, finding areas. And maybe 4 or 5 areas tops?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other side of the coin is you're on the committee that decides. So
Okay, I didn't-
you're-
I didn't know
yeah,
what
yeah,
decisions
yeah,
had already been
yeah,
made, though.
Yeah, so, but that's a good suggestion. You want a multitude of species. Right now, we're planning to do that in these areas, but why not in the future change anything? Sure.
I mean, the downsides of Snow Queen is that they come with a flower that's only about this big and
Yeah.
it's usually a pinkish
Yeah.
red or a reddish pink. And you have some that have flowers that are like this big and yellows and oranges and doubles and whatever, but they're not available in Snow Queen.
Since Snow Queens are so popular, I wonder if they'll hybrid into different colors other than just the red. That would be nice. I haven't seen anything.
I sold Snow Queens 40 years ago when I had a flower shop, so they've been around.
That long.
But no, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they're still red.
Because we have other areas, too, where we have some of the hibiscus that are starting to get late. We're gonna cut them down halfway, so now we start to get growth to the bottom again. So we will keep.
You can cut them
Yeah.
almost to the ground
Yeah.
and they'll come back and
Yep.
fill in, but
So
it
that-
takes a couple of years.
That's another option about it. Yeah.
Did you violate child labor laws for having a shop way back then?
I
Oh, he's complimenting you.
I don't have to take minimum distribution yet.
Any other owner comments?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm Louise from Lakeside, 592. And I look at the top unit and I look down onto the bridge. I talked to John about it on Monday. There's debris on both sides of the bridge from the hurricane.
We were there yesterday
Mhm.
and saw exactly everything you saw.
Mhm.
A work order's been written and within a week, it'll all be cleared.
And is it possible at the same time to just not remove the hurricane debris, but everything else that's dead? in
Yeah, we're gonna try to do the whole, but right now, what had happened is when Browns took a couple of those trees down in there, we didn't realize that they had dropped it down, some of the stuff, because usually they're pretty good about hauling away. But there's about 15 or 20 pretty good sized pieces of wood that's down there, along with a couple dead trees that we're gonna try to do in-house and clean up the whole area.
And a branch that's hanging
Yeah,
in the tree as well?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
but saw it all, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Because
Thank you, thank you.
It's a really popular area. People walk there all the time and it doesn't look very nice.
No, you're absolutely right.
Okay,
Yep.
it's good. Thanks a lot.
What happened on the first call is Maggie wrote it up as a stump to be ground. She didn't understand what you said. That's why there was some
That's
confusion.
why, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, that's why I'm taking pictures as well, because I talked to Jeff and he said, talk to Maggie, and so. All right,
Anyway, we know, we've seen it.
all right, appreciate it.
Yes,
I was told that in March I was gonna get that replacement gardenia. That's still gonna happen?
Absolutely.
yep,
Okay.
yep. So it's right on the list. We haven't started to get the, yep.
They had, I don't know if it's any good, $29 at Sam's Club. I don't know if that's a good price or not.
Hell no, I've never been to Sam's Club.
Pardon me?
I've never been to Sam's Club.
Oh, well,
Prices are okay. Not bad.
I mean, I don't know if
It's
that's a
just,
good price or not.
yeah, we deal with our people and our price is probably comparable to Sam's Club and you could get something from Sam's Club and bring it home and the
I know, this
next
is
day
probably,
it's dead.
whatever you
Yeah.
do is probably better.
Yeah.
It's just natural.
Speaking about those club stores or even the hardware stores, I heard the weirdest story talking about plants and everything the other day. This person that I was talking to is the head of the plant department for Lowe's. Okay, over here. And she was complaining that she lost many plants. And I said, why? She said, as a supervisor, we have trouble getting help. And so there's only 2 supervisors on staff with no sub-help. But Lowe's rules won't let supervisors water the plants.
Oh my
So they got
God.
all the plants in and over 150 of them died because they weren't allowed to water them. How stupid is that?
It happens
Pretty
at
stupid.
Home
God.
Depot and Lowe's.
Yeah,
that's
I
right.
don't know how they make any money
Yeah.
in their plants because they get these loads in and you see the carts there outside and
Everything's
they're
looking
dead.
like,
They're delivered
Yeah.
one day and they're dead the next day because no one waters.
Yeah.
They don't, neither one of those places.
It's sad.
Even up north, they do not take care of it.
Then the next day you see big racks of clearance sales.
Yeah.
With something with one stock.
50% off
Yeah.
a dead plant.
Yeah.
Sometimes those are good buys. All you have to do is water them and they perk right back.
True.
True, yeah.
That's a problem with Home Depot and Lowe's everywhere, not just here.
Oh, yeah.
What always amazes me is you go around to some of these giant trees that we've cut down and the stump is like this. Like the one by 451, 2 years ago, we cut a stump down to the ground and there's about 6 stalks, about 4 foot tall
Yeah.
coming out of it. You can't kill these things. They grow, like you said, Sue. Things just keep growing. Anyway, okay.
Anything else?
Just quickly, I get a lot of plants from the yard waste thing over there. There's things are cut down and like you can root them and grow them. And I got a lot of air plants from the trees that are limbs that are cut down. So I'm a picker. So I go around, I get some really nice clay pots from back there. So if you're taking a walk, go through there and see what you can find.
Jeff's stash.
Is that up for grabs?
It's right back there.
Well, I didn't know it was like picking grounds.
Anything that's in the yard waste pile.
Okay.
Okay.
Not that we encourage everybody to go back there, but because sometimes you can be carefully walking with the pits that are back there, but
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Okay, schedule next meeting.
hold on a second.
420.
What is it?
What is it? Huh?
20th.
April
420.
20th.
420?
Okay, thanks, Jeff.
April 20th. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I need
Second.
to adjourn.
Second? Okay, all right.
Thank you all for attending.
Thanks, everybody, for coming.
I'm glad you brought that because I didn't know if that was a good plan.
Thanks for that reminder you gave me. I didn't realize I hadn't changed it on the list, you know.
I don't know.
Thanks,
who, you know, how
Catherine,
we got there
appreciate it.
because we've been there. This is our 5th winter.
Yeah, it looks like an arrow kind of. And I thought, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's our 5th winter. Yeah, 4 years ago, November.
Kicks over though, huh?
Could have been worse.
I think we
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Go ahead.